Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sisters. I'm looking at some tools. I'm about to make some earrings, so I guess it's gonna be a craft with me, right? But I've been wanting some red earrings, and yeah, no, I just couldn't find the time. I have so many things going on that I really couldn't just sit down to do it. But now I'm doing a couple other things. I have like a whole bunch of interior design stuff going on behind me, and I'm not really focusing on that. So I wanted to take some time and sit and possibly chat and create, something else just as beautiful as everything else I create in my life. So, anywho, alhamdulillah, I hope all of you are well. I hope your life is abundant. I hope it's filled with like amazing things happening because the season has changed. And so, when fall comes, things tend to fall off your plate, fall back, and hopefully you're not falling over the things that are falling. Because if you have kids, that's a true statement, right? The kids got stuff on the floor all the time. It's like, who put this slippery substance on the floor? Anywho, my baby bosses are all asleep except the big one. And so these are not working for me. Can't even turn this. Sorry. I'm trying to turn this little piece of little piece of wire, and it was not working. But I don't want to be clanking on this. I have a plastic tray. But anywho, I wanted to see if I could share, I guess just a little bit more about my pregnancy experience. Because I know it sounds very rushed in the other video that I posted about the importance of snapping back before you snap. But I say that with a wholehearted, nothing but the truth. So help me God, that it is very important that as women, we put back that substance. And so, but like I said, I wanted to share some of my own pregnancy stories. And so I have 3 children. They are 11, 3, almost 4, and Fatima is about to be 15 months. And so, again, all 3 very different pregnancies. With Makaira, my 11-year-old, she literally was 41 weeks, carried her. In my mind, I carried her perfectly for her to be normal. However, I do now, realize that I did not have as many ultrasound appointments with her. And now I don't wish to blame anyone like my doctor's practices, because I notice now that people, for our lack of not understanding how to ask for these type of assistance or even where to go to get this type of information and assistance when you're going through it, we tend now to blame the system or the structure of healthcare for our ignorance or our not knowing. And I wish to, kind of like let's stop that, because there are good people in the medical field doing their best, but there's a lot more of us people needing doctors now a day than there are really doctors that are able to even assist us, not to mention how their pay structure is set up. Some of us really don't make enough money to actually pay the doctor that we would want to help us. So, let's just stop placing blame and let's just start like thinking. Like, I'm learning that it's more about the experience for me, but my ability to think, is this something that I really want to experience? And if it's not, how can I change it? Like, what options are available to me based on what insurance I have, based on where I live, what's available to me, based on where I wish to give birth, whether it's a home birth, a hospital birth, or a birthing center. Like, do I have these things in place? Because, let's be honest, sis, we got like at least 8 good months to put those things in motion. So let's start thinking about those things and stop placing blame for our ignorance. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. Anywho, so I say that, and that's to support the fact that, again, it's my first child. I gave little thought to what I needed to have in place. And then I really didn't know, again, what to expect. Like I expressed in the video before, I don't remember anybody in my family actually telling me, what was going on with them as they were having children. And so I don't have that to say, oh yeah, well, my cousin or my sister gave birth before I did. But, in 10 years too, I don't remember her telling me anything significant about what was going on or what was happening in prenatal visits and things like that. And I definitely do not recall having conversations with my mother about, although now I do, because now I ask. I'm so much more, in this space of like wanting to know so I can tell my children, what I know, because I've realized, again, paying it forward with information is like you asking a question that you feel is needed for yourself, and then sharing that information with whomever it may be beneficial for. And for me, that's a lot of times it's my children, because like I have an 11-year-old, and it's like homeschooling has taught me like we don't know everything. Like even the things that we thought we should have known, we didn't know that we should have known that then. So now having to teach my children, but specifically my 11-year-old, things that I think are important, is becoming very, very, very interesting. And I use that too because we went through, it was a lesson we were doing, and forgive me if I'm rambling, but y'all crafting with me, okay? So this is a whole story time type craft deal, whatever. Call it what you want. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And share. Always share, But I remember we were doing a lesson, and the lesson was surrounding history. But it was the significance of this is I was trying to show my baby her timeline, like how she came, and then like the ages of her grandmother, who's my mom, and then her great grandmother, who's my mom's mom, because my mom's mom and my mom are still living. And so I was trying to show her how our family structure was set up, at least on my side of the family. For her father's side, I can only go as far as I can know. So I still was creating this timeline so she can see where she comes in terms of like a lot of the information that's going on the planet, a lot of the health stuff that people know, a lot of the trends. Like the children think these trends are new. Like they think acid wash jeans are new. They think holy jeans are new. They think distressed clothes, tie-dye, what is it? My boss lady is up there, right here. They think that like patchwork and the spray paint on I forget what it's called. Goodness gracious. They think that these things are new. And so it's very important as a parent that you tell your kids, like, yo, in my generation, like that was a thing. And who knows, like depending on how old your mother is, that might have been her generation that actually started that. So introducing your children to the timeline of a lot of these trends so that they don't get caught up in the hype thinking that somebody their age created something that was created, let's just be honest, like 40 years before they was even like. So anywho, but yeah, so we created an assignment. So that's where it became apparent that I was a lot of things that I didn't know about life before myself, from my mother and then my grandmother. So I started asking questions about them, and it's become very useful too, because my grandmother being older, some things in her memory become less significant because she doesn't have anybody to express it to. So it became a therapeutic thing for my grandmother and I to just, talk and chat about things that she remembers about being a young mother, and then of course my mom being a child, and my aunt and uncle and them, and then how times was when she was giving birth. Because again, things are not the same. Ta-da! So this is what we got right now, y'all. They're going to be like little danglies. I like my earrings to kind of dangle, but I don't have like this very clean line thing that I'm going for. So I'm going to stack these. I'm kind of like, I got a couple little red beads and gold embellishment beads, but this is the dangling one. You see that? So that's going to be really nice. It's going to give some life. But anywho, so yes, I'm with Makaira, my 11-year-old. I really didn't know what to expect. I did not have a birthing plan in place. And then things did not go as I planned in the relationship with her father. So we also had that breakdown of communication in the relationship. And so there's all these things that are happening at once that I have to also adjust to. And so like I said, it was just things that I did not know. How can you prepare for things you don't know? You know? Shouts out to everybody who's just known from the jump what to do and how to do it. You know, but for all of us that really just kind of got it out the mud and really have to figure it out, my Mustafa's like sleep. Y'all gonna hear him snoring, but I'm trying to whisper and not trigger my boss lady upstairs, because if she realizes she up there by herself, she might fall through the ceiling. I think I'm gonna use these. This is pretty. But anywho, so yeah, so I found out later as I was getting near due, because Makara literally was 41 days. She was actually 9 days overdue. So I gave birth to her at 41 days. 41 weeks. I'm sorry, I keep saying 41 days. 41 weeks. And so she was well done. She was extremely baked. She was perfect. However, she was breech. And so, like I said, I blame that on me not, look at that. How beautiful. Wow, that's really nice. I like that. I blame that on me not knowing how many ultrasounds I should have been getting and the timeliness of them, because I had to take what is called the stress test. Antepartum, I think is what they call it. I can't remember. But I had to take the stress test. And so in the stress test, this is when me and my mom happily witnessed Makara sitting in my belly like a Buddha, face forward, like facing the screen, with her little legs crossed in a nice little crisscross applesauce, you know, lotus pose, whatever. And I find that very fascinating too, with the lotus pose, because I really was practicing Buddhism at the time. And so I really do believe synergistically our babies, the essence of them come through whatever spiritual portal that we ourselves are holding as sacred. And I believe that, if for myself, if nothing else, I believe that these babies are coming here well aware, in a state of calm, you know, or a state of whatever essence we're carrying. And so, yeah, she was really in there chilling like a lotus, like a Buddha. And so, yeah, I seen her, and I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like, something don't seem right. Like, we like overdue. We like literally overdue. Like, we went to the test the day before I had my C-section, which became an emergency C-section because she was breech. So she was not supposed to be face forward, upright, sitting in a lotus pose. She's supposed to be upside down, backwards, and or even sideways. It don't matter. She's just supposed to be head down, and she was not. And so, yeah, I really had, I feel like I had a nervous breakdown in that moment, because I really wasn't prepared for, let me fast forward before I say that. I was not, y'all know I always have these moments where even in my thoughts of thinking of what I'm saying, I kind of get tickled with myself, because I remember not being mentally, let alone emotionally prepared to push a baby out of my vagina. I just could not process in my head. I kept trying to process it. I'm changing the design a little bit, because I realized I think I want that little dotty thing at the top, like to close it out and put something else in the middle. I don't know. Crafting is like, if y'all don't craft, I don't know. Like, you definitely get you some crafting. Like, pick something, paint something, draw something. Even if you draw your hand. I did a really cool thing, therapeutic thing with a sister. Look at that. So let's see if I can get them to stop dangling. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. Because they don't need to be super, super long. You won't see them if they dangle too long. And I wear the hooks. But I wasn't ready. I was not ready. Like, yeah, that might be that's a little too long. She's giving me all this extra attitude. I don't need no extra. But, yeah, I was not ready to push a baby. I had a mental hang up with the thought of pushing this baby out of my vagina. And so I really did seek mental help in the very beginning. I was 7 months pregnant. I remember it. I've tried not to forget things that I feel like were very significant going through this adult life, this adult experience. Even the things that I did not know, I try never to forget them, because I want to be able to, like I say, support somebody with my version of life that helped me. You know, it doesn't help to always go through life triggered and trying to forget everything, because it's been so traumatic. Look at those. Super easy. Look at, I don't know if y'all can see that. And these are little hearts with the little dots. So perfect. Simple. But, yeah. I don't wish to forget things. So I had a mental health specialist at 7 months, and not only did I have her, she was cool, young white lady. I'm never gonna knock nobody for they doing their job. But what I did not understand was how she was in her field of profession and she didn't have no kids. So I had a hard time some days understanding that, but I still took advantage of the fact that I was able to afford mental help. Because again, like I said, nobody in my family was telling me these things like, hey, look out for this, watch out for that, and blah, blah, blah. And so I really could not afford to miss an opportunity of wellness because I'm just going to bring this. This is a new thing that I've been working with, but it's literally been so cute. I did another pair of earrings like this, and it was so cute to me. But I'm literally just bringing this all the way down. There's no point in wasting the wire. I'm just going to cut it and throw it away. So I'd rather just keep it, you know. But, yeah. So I literally was coming to this little lady, and she's talking to me, which is helping. But in her helping me, I realized, okay, there's some things that I really am not prepared for. And I was 7 months, but it's like 7 months is like past, you can't opt out. Like, it's happening, y'all. It's like really happening. And so I literally, had to go home some days crying. And then I had to figure out how to study the effects, like what is the options? Like when you're going to birth a baby, okay, vaginal birth, C-section. How do these things even happen? Like, what is the process, right? Excuse me. And so I did also have a doula, which, it sounds funny to say it like this. Like, I've had these things, essentially these assistants, right? In outside of my family structure. But I really did have them because I really was like trying to be successful. That's how I deem it. I was trying to be successful, and so I was utilizing as many resources as was coming to me at the time. And so it was just so happened that the massage therapist I had, she's a beautiful, spirited young lady named Raina, and she also had, dang, I just scratched my bead. She had also just completed her doula certification, and I wasn't even sure what that was at the time. Had never heard of it, and so yeah, she blessed me with being my doula. And so I actually did have somebody to like help me. But the thing again was she didn't have no kids. She didn't have no kids. And so everything that she was able to offer me was basically like aromatherapy, massage, of course, because she was already my massage therapist, but she was also just a person to like keep me calm and like assure me that, it was going to be the experience that I wanted it to be, and I had control, which I really didn't, but I understand that now. It was part of the gig. She was just trying to help me mentally cope, and I appreciate that. However, I still needed, look at this, so pretty. But I don't have I really do I have one pair of hooks. I like just take them off and put them on when I want to wear my earrings. So I don't have a whole bunch of them. I just have a whole bunch of like little dangly things. I don't know. That's just me. But, yeah, so she really just kept me calm. But I had to go home and I had to process that, this baby was coming and she only had 2 options of getting out. And so I needed to find out or figure out how those processes happen. So, and I guess I'm just going to have to make a part 2 because it would be extremely long if I told y'all all 3 on this one video. However, I'm still going to do my best. But so Makara ended up being emergency C-section. I have to check and see what I did. An emergency C-section. And then the kicker, right? Okay, so let me go back just a second. So she was an emergency C-section, but me and my mom was at the test, right? And so the lady's like telling me like, oh no, something's not right. She's definitely not supposed to be in that position. When are you due? And I'm just like, she's been due. I kept telling my doctor, I felt like, me and her was the same size at some points because she was kicking me so hard. I was like, I couldn't even sleep. And so the lady was like, yeah, you definitely, give me a second. I'm going to step out. She stepped out of the room, called my doctor, and I immediately broke down because I kept saying to my doctor, something's not right. I feel like she's ready. Like, I feel like she's done. I feel like she's baked. She don't need no more nothing from me. She needs her own. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could hear Neo's in my head playing Miss Independent. She need her own space. And so the lady comes back in, she gives me the paperwork, and she tells me, go ahead and call your doctor. So by now, I'm just a crying mess. My mom is my witness. I'm just boohoo crying. And so we're in Berkeley, California, and there's a Whole Foods. It's always been there, or at least it was there. I don't know if it's there now, but we literally walked from, I believe it's Altabates to Berkeley, Whole Foods, and I boohoo cried all the way to the food buffet because I just felt like I was starving after I found out this baby was breech, and I was like, I'm just so hungry. And so we go to the Whole Foods, and I order from the little self-serve thing all these different things, and I'm walking. I got like triple stuffed. I think they were triple baked potato wedges or something, and like a Caesar salad and something else I was eating and drinking. And my mom's just like, she's just carrying these things and snacking too. And I kid you not, the doctor calls me and just like, hey, so yeah, we got your labs, and we see, her fluids are low, and she's breached. She's not in a good position, so we got to go ahead and get her out of there. And so it's just like, so when's the last time you ate? And I'm literally like walking and eating on the phone with these, and they're just like, oh, well, it's because you had that meal. We're just gonna have to wait. So we'll take you first thing in the morning. I was like, no. I can't take it. Like one more night, I have to be pregnant with this whole baby in my belly. It's just punching me in my vagina. I'm like, and then on top of that, now it is definitely an emergency C-section. And so now we're having an emergency C-section because, yeah, that was it. That was it. I feel like, again, had I known that I should have had at least, like now, being pregnant with my other two, I've had visits. Sometimes I had 2 visits a week, but I'm up in age too. So it's like being a high risk pregnancy. I have high risk at my age, and I have fibroids now. So I get so much more medical attention now than I did when I was younger, and I was 30 when I had Makira. And so, it's just what I didn't know and what I know now is very, very, very different and very significant for how I recovered. So fast forward now, I've had her. C-section was great. Shouts out to Dr. Kotchenberger, Alameda, California, did an amazing job assisting Dr. Daniels. And peace and blessings to Dr. Daniels' family because he's now passed away. But I definitely had a really, really interesting recovery. I did, like, on one side, I guess, pop my staples. And so I ended up having like a small infection on one side. And this is not uncommon. Like, these are things that normally happen. I just was not aware of it, again, because nobody told me, and I didn't research all of the ramifications of having this process. I didn't even think this far into it because I could never get over the vagina part, like pushing a baby out of my vagina, looking at the circumference of her head and thinking about the vagina. I could never get over that part to even think about having a C-section. And so I eventually recovered from the infection, which was not that bad. It was literally like, my stitches opened, and it was just like a leak of the fluids coming out and air getting in, and it hadn't closed. And so that was one part. The tricky part was the medication. Because you have a C-section, and this is something that I'm sharing definitely right now. I have to put my tools down because I want to focus. When you have a C-section, you are having a major surgery. Not just a major surgery, a major, major surgery. Like, it is up there with like having a freaking pacemaker put in. Like, you're being cut open through your torso, which is the middle of your body. Lower, though, because if you think about it, it's above the vagina, because they're trying to get to the uterus where the baby is, like, make a trap door. That's what I call mine, a trap door. So it's like the bikini line right above, right above the bikini line, but below the belly button is how the incision is. And so it's like a little smiley face. Humor yourself, but it really is comforting to know that it's like a smiley face, because there's nothing about it make you smile. And I say that because when they cut you open, they cut through, if you go and look at how many layers of skin there is, they cut through all these layers of skin, and then they cut into the actual lining in the belly to get into the uterus. And so I don't even know how many more layers of muscle tissue fibers, but they cut all the way into you to get this beautiful little being out. Alhamdulillah for understanding. Thank God they're beautiful, right? But it is a traumatic thought process. In some instances, the recovery is even more traumatic. And this is from my own experience. Again, based on my own ignorance, not at the fault of no one else, because it happened to me and I didn't know the questions to ask or even who to ask. I thought that the days that I felt really good, I could stop taking my meds. And so I remember one day, because I literally had a book that I used to write down every time I would take my medication, because I was also breastfeeding. And I didn't want to like dope my baby up. So I kept consciously like having this thing where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm taking too many drugs because I'm in and out. And I just know some days I'm waking up early and then I wake up and the sun is down, like it's dark. And so I was feeling like I was overdoing my meds. So I started writing it down in a book. And one day I really just felt really, really good. And so I just skipped. I just skipped a whole couple hours of my meds. And how about, not to mention, I think it was like day 4. It wasn't down 2 weeks later. It was like day 4. And I had to crawl all the way to the bathroom in tears because they cut you so low that you can't lift yourself up. And I had my Buddhist aesthetic. My bed was really low to the floor, so I couldn't even pull myself up to stand up, because my bed was like low to the floor. And so, yeah, I ended up having to crawl all the way to the bathroom. And yeah, in my mind, I kept thinking, what did I do wrong? And I figured it out. I thought that I was a superhero. I thought that I was a superhero. I forgot that they just cut a whole human, a whole person. Yo, they just took a whole person out of my belly. For real, for real. And I forgot. And so, yeah, note to self, or note to sisters. If you have a C-section, give yourself at least 10 days. 10 days of your medication. At least 10 days. Literally. Like clockwork, take them. Because what's happening is, although you are in and out of what you feel like is, you're not being coherent enough to have a baby, what you're doing is, by resting that much, you're actually giving your body time to heal. You're actually giving your whole body structure time to just focus on that specific part of healing. And that's a lot. It is a whole bunch. I mean, you need that, sis. Like, give yourself 10 days of those meds. I know we want to be strong. I know we want to be natural. I know we want to be healthy and we want our babies to be healthy. But if you have a C-section, I need you to understand the severity of what you just went through. And it is serious. So I need you to be mindful for yourself and just take it easy. Easy. And so, yeah, that was, I think, the most traumatic part. Breastfeeding was good. She latched right on and she was on. But the cool thing about her, like I said, all my children were different. So I'm just going to go into the breastfeeding part with her. And she latched on. And then my mom didn't live in the state. She lived out of state. And so I remember my mom like coming back to visit. Makara was like, she was 14 months exactly. Because I'll never forget it, because it was when she stopped nursing. My mom took all the grandkids and she rented a hotel room and made herself comfortable and made them comfortable. And Makara was gone for 3 days, which was amazing. Just to, for a first time mom, I got 3 days, no kid, no breastfeeding, just care for myself. I kind of felt a little liberated, back to some kind of normal, right? And yeah, when she came back, she just was like, nah. She left for 3 days or 14 months. And when she came back, she was like, I was like, you want to boo? And she looked at me and she was just like, what's that? She was like, nah. I remember like trying to give it to her like, here. And she was just like, I was like, girl, you used to love these things. And so, yeah, 14 months. She just cold turkey me. And so, yeah, I don't have any horrible things about my first child experience, or even, other than the experience itself, not knowing. That was, to me, that is the most significant part of when you first have your first child. What you know and what you don't know, I think often will be the most memorable or traumatic part of your birth experience. And so do yourself a favor and start writing these things down, especially if you know you want multiple children. I did, what is the book? I did the, what is the book? Goodness gracious. I did the baby book for Makara. So she has her baby book and all the pictures and things like that and memorabilia and kept the tags. But what I'm realizing, which is more significant, is actually to do just one book of the birth of all of the children for yourself. I mean, they can share it, they can fight over it, they can do whatever they want. But I think as a mother, we spend a lot of time trying to create spaces for them when essentially they do have us, but we're trying to create so many spaces for them, we actually are losing very significant parts of ourselves. And so I wish to support the sisters in telling you that you should, excuse me, I'm drinking my water, it's like making me gassy and the sun is coming in. Okay, gotta slide over. Ouch. But I wish to support the sisters in saying that, you should start a book for yourself. Note your healing, note your progress, note what you did, what you didn't do, what worked, what didn't work, just for yourself. So down the road, you don't have the same things happen, and then troubleshoot it. You know what I mean? Like I say, research, man. Research, find different modalities, find different things that you were not aware of. Like I said, I had a mental health specialist. I did not understand the value of her. And I am going to talk about mental health. So forgive me, this video might be a little bit longer. But because I had a mental health specialist who did not have a kid, and a doula who had never given birth and had a kid, nobody actually really told me the depths of postpartum. And so I learned that very, very interesting. I wouldn't say it was the hard way, but I definitely don't feel like I was as emotionally equipped. And I developed severe anxiety having my daughter. There was a lot of things that mentally I just had a hard time processing after having her, and I always felt anxious. I always was scared. And so I really did not, I didn't do very well when she cried. I remember that because it always seemed like she would cry every morning, like first thing in the morning at like 4 a.m. And so it was like already nursing around the clock because she was a regular feeder, like clockwork. And then after a while, I just even stopped covering it up. I just left it out because she could find it in the dark. And she would literally have these crying episodes in the beginning. Well, I think it was like we did good the first 2 weeks. And then by like the third week, something didn't work. Like something was throwing our sleep, her circadian rhythm off, and she would cry. And so I would have like this ringing in my head, ringing in my ears. And like I told somebody, our sisters before, it was almost like her crying would trigger this jar. It's a jar on the top of a high shelf. And as she's crying, it's vibrating to the edge. And as her cry in my head is like sinking and resonating, like she's not calming and I can't help her, I just see the glass or the jar just like fall off the shelf and shatter on the floor into a million pieces. And that's oftentimes how I felt. I felt like because I couldn't, excuse me, because I couldn't like resolve whatever little issue she was having, it was hurting me or affecting me. And it made me like ultimately like lose pieces and break in pieces that I couldn't see. Because when something breaks, sometimes, like think about it, once a piece of glass breaks, it breaks into all these little fine pieces. And so you can't ever put it back whole. And so I remember experiencing that for a little bit of time, but I say it again, because I did not know where to take that experience and apply it or get help. I literally did not have an outlet. And I did join a mommy and me group. I think when Makara was, now that I'm thinking about it, I did join a mommy and me group when she was like 2 or 3 months. But the thing with that is the inconsistency. I don't think a lot of women that were a part of the structure were as committed to like doing it and then let alone building outside of it. And so it didn't, the group itself kind of just fell apart. And so, yeah, postpartum is very real. It is very, it's more, I believe, mental than it is physical. But I say that because I believe if you don't put thought into the process of giving birth and sharing yourself on that intimate level, you will lose parts of yourself. Kai. I think my boss said, can you go and get Fatima? I think she's awake. Fatima. Yep, there she go. There's my boss lady. Can you go get Fatima? She's gonna, I can hear her. But yeah, so the significance of it is like, if you don't, I'm making a video, if you don't pay attention to, you know, who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, having your baby, getting the support, you don't know that it can happen to you. And when it does happen, it's more like it catches you off guard and it sneaks up on you. And so I'm encouraging my sisters to, one, do as many studies as you can, look into as many different ways to avoid postpartum depression, get your support system in order. If you have to pay somebody, pay somebody. If you have to research somebody, some organizations, do that, but put that stuff in alignment for yourself. Don't depend on your family wholeheartedly, because a lot of people don't consider your family have a life too. Everybody's not having the baby. You are having the baby. And so, what's the matter? What's the matter, Fatima? You poop again? I think we got teeth coming, man. This baby been pooping. You want to see? You want to see? Say, hey, everybody. Hi, everybody. There go my boss lady. You want to get a diaper? I don't want that. Yeah, so everybody forgets that. Makaira, can you go get her a diaper and the wipes? I'll change her butt. It doesn't bother me, you know. Ooh, wee, Fatima. What in the, whoa. I mean, vegan babies do be stinking, y'all. I don't know. You want it right on mama's paper? Ta-da, there you go. But yeah, everybody's not having a baby. You're having the baby. And so I don't wish to, you know, support the people that feels like everybody's entitled to having somebody wait on them hand and foot. Listen, if you can afford that, if you can afford to put those things in place, you should put those things in place. That way you can feel empowered for having done that. That is a very healthy thing, too. It's very significant to know that you want that kind of care and that you took the time out to do it. And I say that as a support to having postpartum depression. You don't want to have waited until you've gotten, let's just be real, mentally ill to have to get help when you can plan to get help, when you can have help before. Thank you. You can have help before because you've You all right, Mom? She looked like she was trying to take her clothes off. You've prepared yourself to have assistance. And so that's what I encourage, you know. So I'm not going to make this video super long. Plus, I got a stinky diaper. But let me show y'all these earrings one more time. Maybe I'll wear in my next video. I'll be talking about Mustafa's birth experience next. Yeah. Excuse me, Fatima. Thank you. I know you like it, Mama. She likes them. Yeah, so they came out really cute. Excuse the little baby hands. Okay, here. You hold that one. I'll hold this one. I have to get my smaller tool just to clip that one little piece down, but I don't want to scratch my bead up. But yeah, so anywho, I hope somebody found this video helpful. I hope you can, you know, find it in yourself, you know, to support somebody to whom you know is having their child. And it does not matter. Listen to me. I was to say that. It does not matter if a sister is having her first, second, third, fourth, eighth child. Everybody needs assistance as though it is their first, because the body is responding to having had this experience one time or several times. And so I'm encouraging you. No, before I go, my apologies. Nutrients, vitamins and nutrients. Having a baby is very significant. You are one person as your first child. Let's just focus on one child for a second. As your first child, whoever you are, at whatever age you are, everything that you, vitamins, nutrients, minerals, that is being divided. Prenatals are essential. DHA, EPA, your omegas. These things are so vital. In my other video, when I was talking about the snap back before you snap, the importance of that is what you're not doing is you're not having your brain fuel your body from nothing. Like, you're putting these minerals back into your body. You're not allowing them to be depleted. And I say that because a lot of women don't pay attention to their cravings. Your cravings are oftentimes depleting your minerals, and your minerals are breaking down, and the nutrients in your body are breaking down, and essentially the body will start to break down. And with that being said, what you're doing later on is you're actually the reason why the postpartum symptoms are even the postpartum symptoms are even as bad. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying we're not preparing ourselves, taking into consideration what we're actually going through. Birth is an actual experience. It is a whole experience. Your whole body, your whole mind, your whole soul, everything is involved in this. This is a holistic thing. And so we have to start preparing the space before, during, and after. And so I highly encourage my sisters. I'm just going to have to scratch the bead because I can't seem to get that one little piece. I'm encouraging, thank you, Fatima. I'm encouraging my sisters to take a prenatal pill. Find one that you like, find a brand that's reputable that you like, and take prenatals before, during, and after. However, I wish to share one tip about the after. Give yourself at least, I would say, the first 6 months with your prenatals, and then take a break. Because what you do have, we have the postpartum shedding, and we have all that stuff. Take a break and switch to fennel. The fenugreek supplements are good for lactation, but the fennel is also good for hair. And so with the postpartum shedding, you really can't, you're not going to be able to stop it while you're taking your prenatal vitamins. Like, you're not going to be able to stop the effects of it. But what you are doing is allowing your body to kind of readjust and consider it. I mean, I guess the 5th trimester for mom, because we go through 3 trimesters being pregnant. We go through the 4th trimester when the baby gets out, our postnatal phase, which is often where the postpartum sets in. Sorry, I lost my thought. I got 3 people in my space and they working me. But that's often where the postpartum kicks in, because it's the postnatal phase. But even that 3 months, attach another 3 months on it. So give yourself 6 months before you start trying to work out and just focus on just getting those nutrients and those vitamins in place, because essentially that's going to help you even lose weight. And I'm going to have to tell y'all more about that in another video, because that's where I'm at with my 3rd child. I didn't snap back as easy as I snapped back with my 1st or my 2nd. And I weighed more and my baby was smaller. Makara was literally 9 pounds at birth. She was big and beautiful. She was full, and she ate great, plant-based diet. I made her food, made a lot of her body products. I've always been natural, or at least homeopathic. I went to school very early and studied, natural medicine. And so I understand the benefits of it. And so I totally did it with my babies, and I say babies because I still do it. Alhamdulillah. But definitely consider taking, after 6 months, take some time off of your prenatals and just focus on the DPA, DHA, DPA, DHA, EPA supplements, your omegas. Focus on those things, and fenugreek, because fenugreek is good for your lactation, especially if you're nursing. Even if you're not nursing, remember the body is in this hormonal thing. So it's in this hormonal structure after just having given birth. And so get yourself a good balance of a good plant-based coordinated diet with whatever diet that you have. Eat more fruits, more vegetables to cultivate those nutrients organically inside of your body. So you don't want to keep taking your prenatals, and then add the fenugreek to incorporate whatever hormonal balancing thing, because most people don't even realize it, but the hormones are like doing this. And that's another contributor, at least in my understanding, to postpartum, the hormonal fluctuations. We are not prepared to have all of this stuff happening. And it's not a short period of time. It's happening over a little bit of time. Every trimester is 3 months. So now you've given birth, and it's a 10-month process from gestation to actual birth. If you actually do the math, it ain't like you get the weekends off. And so you have all of this time, but that's a whole year of your body that has been focused on doing this one thing. So again, taking into consideration, if you take that 6 months, give yourself, thank you, Fatima. Thank you. Get that from her, please. If you take into consideration, you've been doing something for a year with your whole body, give it that birth, 6 months, the baby's out. 6 months after, stop the prenatals. Just focus on the DHA, EPA, and the fenugreek. You're gonna see a balance in your hair. And then if you really have like a more plant-based diet, you may want to even incorporate some what is it? The kelp. Sea kelp was really, 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 really good for me because I struggled with thyroid issues. And so those things really, really supported my healing journey for me. And so I'm being attacked. That's part of it. I'm trying to think, what else was it? So she's looking for the cup. It's probably my top. But yeah, so those things I found very significant. And then just work out. Moderation is everything. Moderation is key. Moderation is key with eating. Moderation is key with working out. Moderation is key with mental health. Timeliness is everything. Not waiting until you absolutely need these things. Trying to put them in place as you are going through it. Really, Fatima? Good job. Come here. Let me wipe your nose. Here. Good job. She is learning how to blow the snot out. I'm not going to stop her because it helps me. I don't got to chase her. But Fatima, la. So, yeah. Anywho, I feel like I'm rambling and I keep losing my space because I got to focus on this baby. But I hope this information was helpful. I will come back because this will be one of 3 because I have 3 children, 3 different birth experiences, 3 different postpartum experiences, 3 different breastfeeding experiences, 3 different children, 3 whole people. So anywho, I am Alanisa Sada from Dean. Thank you for coming to her Dean. And please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you. Alhamdulillah. All praises Most High. I think that's it. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't clip that. You're kids, man. Anywho, until next time, sisters.